Hello, my name is Ruben Morfin Ramirez. I'm Assistant Director in the Office of Minority Education at MIT, and I'm introducing a videotape session where Latino students express their views and feelings about their experience at this institution. You will hear about their feelings of dejection. You will hear about their self-criticism. You will hear also about their doubts about MIT's commitment to diversity. As a former MIT student myself in the early 80s, my experience has been pretty varied. I don't believe that MIT is the best example of a racist institution, but I know that it is uncomfortable to many minorities. It is, in fact, a very difficult place for anyone. It is a very challenging, very competitive environment. It is certainly not like anybody's home. It can be very cold. But minorities also have to deal with many other issues, result of their having been often treated differently, often feeling that they don't belong in places. When they come here so young and they start to become adults here, and they see who's running things, and they look up to the top, and they don't believe there's room for them, those feelings can only be exacerbated. Maybe we're only dealing with issues of perception. Maybe there are not more Latino and other minorities in the faculty or in the administration for reasons other than racism. But the feelings that we're going to be hearing about are very real. And the students' perceptions are too important to minimize as being unfounded. We should at least consider what they're about to say.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming here today. We are going to be talking today about our experiences here at MIT. All of us are Hispanic students, and all of us have been here for a while already. We'd like to focus this discussion on what experiences have we had here, how do we feel about being Hispanics here, what does the MIT faculty administration do for us or could do more in terms of helping. I'd like to hear impressions of people of how your life has been here, how it can improve or how it cannot improve how it cannot be any better than it is right now.
And I think that what ends up happening is that initial situation when you get off the plane, you get on campus, your freshman year, RO. I think that pretty much defines the way you're going to spend the rest of your 4 years. And I think because the institute does what it does, at that initial moment, I think I think that's why it becomes I don't want to say a problem, but it becomes an issue.
It seems like, for the most part, in terms of Hispanics, you're either Mexican, Mexican-American, Puerto Rican, and then I guess it's an other. And I fit into that other, so I'm just like, people ask me, what are you? Or actually, for the most part, people just assume, since I hang around with either Puerto Ricans or Mexican, you're Puerto Rican, you're Mexican. And it is almost frustrating to me that, as Hispanics, they can't, I would at least hope they could see that, we are a diverse group and don't just automatically consider me Mexican or Puerto Rican, because I'm Peruvian, and I don't feel that I need to have to wear a flag on me to say, hey, I'm Peruvian. And I'd like other people to understand, that, we all come from different backgrounds. And I think we should see that among ourselves and see that and don't let, that you come from a certain place have to be any type of hindrance or anything if you want to do something or get involved, because it is true that it's a very diverse community, the Hispanics here. And it's hard because there are so many groups and everyone has such different backgrounds. I mean, like Hispanics that live here in the States have complete different just experiences than international students. and just trying to get the two groups together is in its way, it's kind of hard because the experiences are so difficult, just the things they had to face. A Hispanic that lives here has to grow up with always being different, I guess. And then, you know, if they see racism, then they see it throughout their lives. And it's almost a burden that it keeps on being put on them, on and on. And it just changes their aspect on things. While if you're an international student, you come from somewhere where everyone's like you, and you're just put into a new situation. So you might not see the same things. You might not see the same experiences. To you, as an international student, it could be that, oh, I didn't see that, I just saw it. I mean, you might be oblivious to it, almost ignorant to some things. But I don't know. I don't want to use ignorant because it doesn't sound right. But it's just really different backgrounds. And I really don't think many people see that it's just we're a really diverse group within ourselves.
You know, we're talking about the cultural issues and how, you know, being a student, you're in different groups, but there are other bigger issues at MIT, you know, that Hispanics have to face, such as, you know, you have lack of professors, which are Hispanic at MIT, you know, and then the thing, by having different, you know, groups, when you start looking at that issue, you say, oh, well, because, you know, we need more Mexican professors, or we need more Cuban, or we need more Puerto Rican, instead of looking, you know, how dumb can you be? So you need more Hispanic professors, whatever they might be, you know, and more graduates, you know, Hispanic graduate students, because you don't have graduate students, you're not going to get professors. So I think, you know, issues such as that are not being addressed at MIT, and that's something we should be addressing.
The thing here that is the thing here and I mean, that is what makes me feel more different than other people. That's what makes me feel like, just like all the times, you know, people are saying, oh, you don't understand this because you were isolated in the ghetto, and you don't understand American culture because, you know, you lived in this little Latin America, and the fact that, and then it's different even than coming from a different country, because if you come from a different country, people expect you to not understand certain things. But since I was born here, people expect that I behave like an American, and I don't necessarily know what that is. And I think a lot of times people have the expectations that we have to behave in that way, and people have the expectations that we have certain values in common as Americans that sometimes I don't even know what those values are, you know, just, and I feel a lot of times, like, especially in my dorm, I feel that a lot of times people they're not trying to put me down, you know, but in a way they do just because of that.
Coming from the island, you know, in Puerto Rico, I didn't have to face anything, you know, related to being black or white. I mean, it just didn't come into the picture, you know. And I mean, you know, I look at my family, and in my family, you know, I could say, okay, these are 2 or 3 members of my family. The distinction is who gets like a lobster when they go to the beach and who, you know, gets tanned when they go to the beach. But, you know, that was the only thing. And then you come to States, and I found myself like, am I part of the international community because I'm Puerto Rican from the island, or am I, you know, from the minority community because I'm Puerto Rican, and then if I'm in the Puerto Rican community, am I in the Puerto Rican or in the black community, or how does this work out? And I have the confusion, and people around me have the confusion too. And you know, it's just all these lines that I mean, no one knows how to look at really.
MIT always wanted to increase number of Hispanic students at MIT, but there's also like every year there are a lot of dropouts. It's a really bad retention rate here. And it makes you wonder if they're just increasing the number of Hispanics without considering if they're gonna make it through.
Or
if they're just care about getting them in, and then you're on your own.
I don't have any Hispanic, older person to go to when I have a problem, like academic. I don't know, I just sometimes feel more comfortable because many times like my doubts in school are like, I think I'm in Spanish. And I try to explain it to a TA and he's Japanese or I don't know, American. And I just cannot get it through and the person gets frustrated because I cannot get the words. But I guess if I had somebody who, a faculty or staff who could, kind of like lead me on how to get along, with those questions, I think it would be much better.
Are there any? Yes.
There are a few, and I know that the Hispanic students have taken classes with those Hispanic professors. They developed like this bond, and that professor's like their mentor throughout.
The thing is our reality that we are Hispanics living in an American community, and the values are going to be different, and we have to take choices along our lives. Am I going to take my Hispanic heritage, and that's going to be my most important thing? That's going to affect you, and it's going to affect us all. I mean, because people are going to perceive us as militant, because people are going to perceive us as separatists, because people are going to perceive us, the only thing that he cares is about Puerto Ricans or about Hispanics, right? If we give him a position, he's going to try to hire more Hispanics, right? That's all he cares about. It's a single-minded issue. And we are in danger of that, and that's going to happen. No matter how we act, no matter how American we try to be, no matter how open we are to the other culture, we are going to be perceived like that by people. I mean, you can live in an American community and try to share your culture with others, but the matter of fact is that people are going to try to put you aside, try to push you away, and that's the reality. And the thing is that you have to make choices, and it's hard because you know that it's going to affect you along your life, and when you go for jobs, when you try to relate to other people, it's gonna affect you. Raising kids is a major issue, right? I mean, you're gonna raise kids and you want them to know about American culture because they live in America, but at the same time, you think that your Puerto Rican or your Hispanic heritage is very important. You wanna give them that. So you're also gonna raise your kids with that dilemma. And there are choices that you have to take along your life, and I mean, they're gonna be dangerous and they're gonna be bad. I mean, they're gonna just stay with you forever. And what she says is that I think is very important to know is that it's a definition thing. We have to define ourselves, and it's very important to find what you want to be seen as. And if you want to be seen as Hispanic, you have to be very strong, and you have to. I mean, because people are gonna come up to you and say you're totally wrong. You're doing the wrong thing. Even Hispanic people will tell you that. My parents tell me that, the other day, I was almost beat up in the street because, people call me a spick and threw beer at me. Okay, I call my parents, and what did they say? They say, the thing is that you're too Hispanic. You dress too Hispanic. You
talk too loud.
Yeah, you talk too loud. You listen to salsa all the time. You should be more American. And I don't want to. And the thing is, I have to put up with stuff like that. I have to put up with people harassing me. But that's my choice because it's very important to me. And the reason why I hang out with Hispanics, and I think that it's extremely important that we send our message to the community at large. We can't separate ourselves. It's silly to think that we're actually going to separate ourselves because we live in the United States and we work with mostly Americans. We go to classes with mostly white people. Our professors are white. So, to say that because you live in La Casa or in a Hispanic house, then that means that, you're separating yourself completely. It's absurd because it's impossible in this culture to do that. The definition issue, it's very important because you have to be very, very defined within yourself. And it's very important to separate yourself because, as women, I'm sure that this comes up, and as Hispanic, for me, it comes up that, let's just take the issue of women. Women for years and years and years have been defined by men. They have to be this way, they have to be thin, they have to be good to the kids, they have to stay at home and clean. It's a definition thing. Constantly you're being defined. Hispanic, we're lazy. The man, we just cheat on our own wives. We have kids like crazy. We've been defined, right? We're loud, we're obnoxious, constantly defined. And to a certain extent, you have to cut yourself from that and define yourself, right?
So you start off in a school like this, and your confidence is not the greatest one. You see all these people with so much confidence, with getting A's on tests and stuff like that, and you think yourself that you're never gonna make it like that, or that if you do, you're gonna have such a hard time that it's gonna break you, you know? And then when that happens, people, when you don't have such a good confidence, people perceive that, and they think that, you know, you're something less than they are, and they start treating you like that. So that comes around, and that makes you feel even less confident. So it's a whole circular process, and it's very hard to break because you feel like you can't overcome those barriers that you're faced with, and that everything is just gonna go against you. And in some way, when you become less confident, everybody around you sees that, and they treat you like that, and so everything starts all over again. And I think that's very hard to stop, and that has happened to me so many times. Like TAs, they look at me and they start. Sometimes I stutter because I can't think of the words that I'm trying to say in English or something, and it's very hard for me to express myself to them. I'm thinking the terms in Spanish, and I'm thinking of all the objects that I'm dealing with in Spanish, and I'm trying to explain it to them, and they see that I'm just so confused and everything. So they think that I'm not that smart or anything, and they start treating me like that. They start treating me like they have pity on me, and they have treating me like, oh, you can, if you need extra help or something. And I don't mind the extra help. I love the extra help, but not when it comes in a context, oh, I feel sorry for you, therefore I think I should give you extra help. I mean, if you're gonna give everybody extra help, then I feel great when you give me extra help because you're treating me like everybody else. But sometimes TAs come up to you like, do you need extra help because, oh, you're Puerto Rican and you're Hispanic and you're not as smart as everybody else and you got here because of affirmative action. So I feel sorry for you, so I have to give you extra help. And stuff like that is just so frustrating because it makes you feel like you can't work, and it does affect you a lot, and it's so hard to overcome it, I think.
Most of the time, they don't expect Hispanics to do as well in classes as other people, as like, I don't know, Asians or white students. But I think many people has proved them wrong, and I've noticed that even Hispanics think that way. When they go up to a class, they say, no, if I get a C, I'll pass, and that's their final goal. And I think that's not the way you go up to a class. I think they have, I don't know, we're living with that, and I don't know. I think that should change.
But another thing is that I wanted to mention that we talked about earlier, about role models, and I don't think any of us needed or were like, oh, go Criseda, go, you can do it through high school. But I know that when I think about it, actually, right here, I was a freshman and she was a senior, and I studied her, like how she got to where she was, what steps she took to get there. And I kind of followed that way, and I accomplished a lot. And right now, I guess, in the sense of loss, feeling of direction, if I found someone who was doing kind of like what I wanted to be doing, maybe I could kind of see a little bit of the road that got her there, or him or her there, and maybe kind of get there. I just can't find maybe that role model, whether or not it's Hispanic, whether or not it's a man or woman. I just don't find the role models.
I've heard a lot of people that they'll come here and meet a few people, never have met anyone from Puerto Rico before, and they'll say, well, all Puerto Ricans are this and da-da-da-da, and they speak like this, and and they just have this like, oh, well, they have this image formed, and that's it, and why should I bother meeting anyone else? That's, and I don't know, for me, it becomes like something that really bothers me after a while because, well, for one, I mean, I come from like, basically, I consider two cultures my own, the Japanese American culture and Mexican American culture. And when I find it really ironic or hypocritical or something for someone to come speak to me in my face about saying, well, this person's only half Mexican, he's half white, and how can he possibly, and they're telling me this, Well, and then there's this, someone here from Hawaii that was an interface, and they're saying, oh, she's Japanese. I'm like, are you sure she's just Japanese? And they're looking in the face, yes. Come to find out she's Hawaiian, Japanese, Chinese, Korean, Puerto Rican, and Native American, okay? And I think I missed a couple too. And, you know, and they're just saying, well, I'm sure, and I'm like, I don't know, and people just assume, you know, this person's like this, so yes, this person has to be this way. And it's the same, you know, I've noticed that within just, you know, just people within the Mexican American community. You know, oh, this person's from Texas, so they must be this way, or they're from California, so they're this way, or, you know, and well, you're not from this state, so you couldn't understand how it's like, you know. It seems like people are always looking for some other way to kind of group themselves in or close themselves in and not, you know, include other people. And it's like, you know, I heard one person said, well, I don't speak Spanish, so why should I have anything to do with anyone else that's Latino, you know? And I don't know. It's hard sometimes to try and allow people to kind of be open about things.
Perpetrating, I guess, this sort of discrimination that exists at MIT towards just, I don't know what else to call it, but for example, the whole thing of why Mexicans and Puerto Ricans are considered minorities at MIT, and the rest of the Hispanic community, Central America and Latin America and the islands, you know, why they're not considered minorities. We're all Hispanic, you know, and I believe that I have as much in common with Mexicans and Puerto Ricans being Salvadorian as Mexicans and Puerto Ricans have with each other, you know? Yeah. I mean, we have differences among our cultures, but I don't think I have more differences with you guys. I don't think that's it, and I don't understand. I really don't understand why MIT doesn't see us like that, why MIT excludes us from interface, why they exclude us from like Excel, you know? They say they don't exclude us. They say you can come in if you want, but they don't encourage you to come. They don't even let you know that it's going on. I didn't know about like second summer. I didn't know about that until what, last year? You know, that existed, and it seems to me that it's a really unfair kind of discrimination because they don't do that to black students, you know. Black students aren't just, you know, black students from the U.S. There are people from Jamaica, there are people from Haiti, there are people from Africa who come in, but they come in and the institute just says, you're black, and so...
Well, actually, they do distinguish for people who are from Africa.
Well, I mean, if they've lived here...
But it's true that Haitians and...
But I mean, like, if they've lived in the U.S. for like 5 years, they're considered U.S. black residents. They don't say, you are from African descent, therefore, you know, you're not our target black group that that we want, you know. And I really don't understand why that is. If that's I've heard the argument, well, it's based on historical things, you know, like who got discriminated against in the past. And then they say, well, blacks from the South got discriminated against. Puerto Ricans from New York and Mexicans, well, everywhere, you know. And then, but times are changing, you know.
And then there's the other thing that you know, initially, you look at these affirmative action things, and initially, you know, they were formed to rise, you know, up the people who were economically disadvantaged. But now, and I see this, of course, in the Puerto Rican case just vividly, how, you know, it's not the Puerto Ricans from New York or from Miami or from, you know, who are getting this help. It's Puerto Ricans from the island who, you know, like myself, true, that have, you know, the odds. Yeah, the odds are just not the same. Right. And I see this also happening in the black community. You know that, you know, it's not like. I think the whole thing has been like twisted,
right?
And now it's not really helping, you know, those who are most in need.
That was I'm sorry.
Well, there's a whole debate about this in admissions in various schools. How, well, do you still count someone as a minority if they don't come from a disadvantaged background? You know, if they were middle class instead of really poor, do they still count as a minority? Do they still deserve special attention? And it seems to go to what goes back to what are your ultimate goals in having these affirmative action programs? And is it to help people who are disadvantaged? Yes, but to me it seems like it's also to overall increase the representation, And where you get a problem with that is if the people who you're bringing in are people who didn't come from disadvantaged backgrounds. That's not necessarily a problem. But if they never came from that disadvantaged background and they don't gain an understanding of what it means to be disadvantaged, then they don't put their efforts into being a representative from this culture, which is what the whole point is to increase the representation. But it doesn't matter if you increase the representation if people don't realize. Like if somebody doesn't realize that I'm Hispanic and I'm working at a company, it doesn't matter that I'm Hispanic and I'm there if nobody knows and nobody is aware of me and my cultural differences.
I think it's very important that when you go up to a position where you have succeeded, or at least even though you might feel like you have not succeeded that much, but you want to get together with people and you want to share this with people, I think it's very important that you reach out and you help the people who are coming after you, like the freshmen who are coming after you, or people who are in high school. Start preparing them for this. Start helping them, and not only in the sense that those people can see you and say, oh, since he or she succeeded, then I can do it. That's not enough. I don't think that's enough just to stand there and have succeeded and have people look at you and say, oh, I want to be like that. I don't think that's enough. I think you have to go to the people and say, I succeeded because I did this and this and that. And I forgot about the rest of the world and I focused on myself and I did all these things and that's why I succeeded. And I want to help you do it. I want to tell you how I did it so I can do it. So that that person could go generation after generation and help the rest of the people who are coming after us. So I think that just being there and being successful is not important. If you're successful, you probably owe it to a lot of people besides yourself. You owe your success mostly to your self-confidence and to your intelligence and everything, but there's probably a lot of people around the way who helped you, and you should be that way to other people who are coming after you, because you should give back what some people gave to you.